welcome everyone. So good to see all of you. Happy Wednesday. My absolute favorite part of the week where we get to come to you live wherever you are watching it. I love this. We got some on LinkedIn, we got some on YouTube, we got some on Facebook, we have some here right in StreamYard. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And today we are talking about one of my absolute favorite topics. One topic that you never, ever, 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 ever can get enough of, which is what I absolutely love. But as always, let's get started. Put into chat, what is the last movie that you watched? Hello. Hello, our friend from California. What's the last movie that you watched? Barbie movie. Love it. Yes, yes, yes. I was going to say mine is a Barbie movie too. I have a whole different perspective on, actually, no, not a whole new different perspective. It was the same perspective that I had. It just really, it really underscored everything that I really knew. And I'm very excited that that message went out to the masses, but no more spoilers on that. Awesome. Splash, Divergent. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Awesome. Awesome. Top good. Oh, Steve Minna, what's up? It's been a while. Love it. What the bleep do we know? Yes, loving it. Awesome. So many of you know, but I am Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project. What the heck is Prowess? We help most of the time caregivers who are either returning to the workforce or pivoting in their career. We help them become online business managers. Think of a mix between a COO and an executive assistant with a dash digital marketing, all to help the CEOs of the world really scale their business so they can just, the OBMs run it and the CEOs can really focus on growing. So with that, what you are doing here, or you are all online business managers who are either returning or want to level up your career, or potentially even CEOs who are looking for an online business manager. We are welcoming you to be here. And what we are talking about today is confidence. Something that we know that everyone constantly needs to be talking about, constantly needs to be thinking about. So you're constantly up-leveling yourself. And I mentioned this before this session today, but one thing that I'm really pumped about, that Leah and I are super intentional about all of the live streams that we bring you, is we don't just talk about the hard skills. We don't just talk about the tech, we don't just talk about the professional skills, but really the interpersonal as well, really the roadblocks that you have, the mental struggles that you have, so you can get to your dream. So very excited to bring on this guest that I've known for a little bit now. She has really perfected her niche because it is confidence, and people never are done learning about confidence. And so smart woman. She was in commercial real estate for over 20 years and decided to pursue her passion, which is really inspiring others to be the best version of themselves, which I absolutely love. Now that she is a life coach and has a podcast called The Opposite of Small Talk, which that is how we met. I was a guest on her podcast. So with all of that, I am thrilled to introduce Danielle McCombs.
Ashley, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to be talking to the Prowess Project community.
Love it. Yes, we are so grateful. Like I said, great job on picking that niche, girl. People always need confidence. So give us the quick and dirty of how you got to where you are now.
So as you mentioned, I spent my entire career up until about a year and a half, 2 years ago, in commercial real estate. And I was on a path of, I got out of college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I needed a job. And so I got a job. I was an assistant to start out, and I worked at this company that I loved. It was, did low and moderate income housing throughout New York City. It was a nonprofit. I really loved their mission, met some of my people there, people who were still my people today, which kept me there for a really long time. And in that time, I also found out that I really liked the industry. I went to school. I got a master's degree in real estate. So starting here of sunken costs, right? And then I moved on. I worked at a brokerage in New York, which was definitely a very different world from the nonprofit world. It was very cutthroat and working crazy hours and just, something that I didn't necessarily pick for myself.
Sure.
And then I got an opportunity to come to San Francisco and work for a startup. Was sold the dream of being at an early stage startup, getting equity, and in a couple of years you'll be a millionaire. Spoiler alert, I'm not a millionaire. And that didn't happen, right? The startup never really started, and then I found myself finding another job in commercial real estate right before the pandemic, thinking this was my dream job. I was going to do business development for this group that I sought after, like went after them and was like, I want to work for you. And they created a position for me. And I started in December of 2019. We all know the story, right? So I had a job and it just was very hard for me. It was very siloed because we were all working from home. I didn't really have connections there. And in the time of the pandemic, I had time to kind of reflect on what I wanted, who I was, what was I doing. I think a lot of us had that time, right? We were all stuck in our homes. And I found through my podcast, actually, as well, talking to so many people who were coaches, right. I decided I needed a coach. And I hired a coach in 2021. And within a couple sessions, I realized I want to do what you do. I was able to see myself in a way that I couldn't on my own, that to have somebody reflect back to me who I was being made such a huge difference, because we can't see ourselves. We're so close up to, I was looking for, well, what's my next job going to be? Or how do I make this job work? As opposed to, what are the possibilities that are out there? And really had a point of, I'm 20 years into my career. I have at least another 20 to go. And is this how I want to spend my time? And I realized it's not. And so I took a leap and left the world of commercial real estate. And I think my last day was January 7th. And on January 12th, I started my coaching classes and, went through the whole certification process, started my business. And here we are today. And so I'm living a completely different life and doing work that lights me up in a way that I didn't necessarily know was possible 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. Well, first, congratulations. That takes a lot of bravery. And before we get into what you're doing now, I want to talk about that decision and the ups and downs of that journey of going from, hey, I am employed at a stable place. I mean, let's take COVID out of it, but commercial real estate isn't going away. No. Like, it was super, super stable. You got a salary, like you got benefits, everything, to starting your own coaching business. Like, talk us through that, because a lot of people in the audience are OBMs who want to do something similar.
Yeah. So I would say that, I mean, it's an ongoing journey, right?
Totally.
And you know this, right? As owning your own business, like, there are days where the high highs and then there's low lows. But if you can remember that it's all part of this journey and keep yourself focused on that, it makes a huge difference. Because I know there's days where I still feel like, what did you do?
Yeah.
But then there's days where I realize, like, oh, I just had a client who had this like breakthrough moment. I didn't do it. I was just a part of it. Right. And that makes a huge difference when I can see my clients making real change in their lives, seeing things in a different way. Like, you know what? All of that risk was totally worth it. And it makes me want to continue on. It makes me want to push this business further, get out there more, and be a part of getting people out of that place where you're like playing small, thinking where you have to stay.
Yeah.
But that place where there's something inside of you that needs to get out.
Yeah.
And when that comes out, it's so special.
Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. so I want to have people in the audience too. As always, if you have questions, please put them in the chat and we will do our best to answer. But I want to know if people can relate to what Danielle was saying, specifically around when you see the impact of what you're doing in this business that you decided to take the big leap of faith in. When you said that, that was exactly how I feel. When we can train and match online business managers with their dream CEO, and then together they are just like exploding in impact, every tough day is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Every tough day, and all of them to come, absolutely worth it. And so I love that you mentioned that. So also, what I think I said it at the beginning is so brilliant about what you're doing is you really focus on confidence. You're saying playing small, and how do you change the conversation? And so tell us, why did you decide to focus on confidence in life coaching?
So I think it's something that we all need, right? And if anybody came over to you today and Ashley was like, "Hey, do you want some more confidence?" What would you say? You'd be like, "No, I'm good." No. We all always need more confidence. We're always looking for that thing that pushes us. And so I just feel like it's something that everybody needs. And two, you can't have enough of it, because I just think that like, even on the days where I'm like, yep, I'm killing it, there's still always that voice in the back of your head that's like, but are you? And so it's learning how to play with those voices, play with that part of ourselves, and know that we're bigger than that. Know that if we keep pushing through, we have a lot more to contribute.
I love it. And it's interesting too, because the people who have arguably too much confidence, they're not going to be attracted to coaching. They're not going to be attracted to learning more about it. So that's why I just think that this specialty is so smart.
And I would also argue the people who look the most confident probably are the least confident, right? The things that we think embody confidence, I think there's a lot of messaging around that.
Ooh,
that's not really.
Say more about that. What do you see as stereotypical on like what confidence looks like?
Yeah, I think we're changing that. We're breaking that down. But I saw in the beginning, a lot of people just saw the Barbie movie, right? And so I think that kind of topples that on the head, on our heads, right? Like when Ryan, Ken comes into the real world, and all of a sudden he's like, people are looking at me. Oh my, people want to hear what I'm saying. Like, we need more patriarchy. Like those things are like the way he saw that as confidence. It's not necessarily real, right? I think that, and so a lot of times that's the message we're given is like, well, that's the way you look confident, right? Mm-hmm. You can be 10 men in a CEO room making dolls for girls, right? Like, and you're real confident in what that's doing. But are you? Do you really know what's going on there? So I think it's sometimes we get confused of what confidence should look like. Confidence can be very quiet. And I would say a lot of times the most confident people in a room are the quietest. The people who are shouting from the rooftops are the ones that have the least amount of confidence.
Wow, that is so true. I'm looking back on my career, and that is so true. Even though I'm a talker,
it's different. It's a different type of talking too, right? What you're saying, you're not shouting it at people. You're saying what you believe.
So I'm curious, how do you define confidence?
I think it's the ability to show up as yourself and feel really good about that.
Yeah.
Feel really authentic in your choices. And the thing that you are talking about is important to you for a reason, right? Not just it's important because I think it's going to get me the most likes on social media.
Totally.
It's really important to me because I think it makes a difference in my life. It makes a difference in your life. It makes a difference in someone else's.
Yes. And then where my brain just went to, because you said social media, is like, let's say you are a budding OBM and you're putting out content. If you are confident about what you're saying, it's going to attract the right people to you. They will be able to feel it, but also the people who don't understand or don't get it or don't value it, aren't your people anyway. So don't waste time with them.
100%. And I think that's the thing that this world of social media has kind of warped us a little bit, in the fact that it's like, well, if not enough people saw this, then it didn't matter. And it doesn't matter. If the right person saw it, it matters. And I truly believe it's something that I've been working on, of like social media, of how much do you put out there? What do I put out there? Do I feel confident putting this out there? And the thing that I've come to work on is, one, it's not that precious. Whatever you're putting out there, people are scrolling past it. And when it hits the right person, that person's going to stop and they are going to interact with you. They are going to reach out to you, or maybe they're not today and they will in 2 months. You don't know. But like, to get into the weeds of all that, and I think that erodes our confidence, is when we're only looking for the likes and the comments. That can hurt us. And I've been working on that, like, right, putting stuff out there on LinkedIn. And sometimes, like, the weirdest thing is like, oh, that's the thing that everybody resonated with. And I was like, really? Like, I posted that I donated blood. That was the thing that resonated. But then when I put something up about like, hey, I had this wonderful podcast thing, like, nobody listens. So it's like, okay, but maybe then that encouraged someone to go donate blood and saved a life somewhere, right? Like, that's the thing. You just can't, like, I think we can't put too much into that world.
Yes, I love that you brought that up, because I've noticed this recently. I think we do kind of mix up or put too much pressure or power of taking away confidence on social media. I've been consistently putting stuff out on LinkedIn, and I don't get a ton of engagement, likes or comments or anything. I really don't. With the amount of people, when I'm on a sales call or when I just close a deal, which is really what matters, that said, I found you on LinkedIn. You're crushing the LinkedIn game. Like, oh my gosh, you said this on LinkedIn and it completely resonated. Where's that like?
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like, you don't know. And also think about it. When you see something, are you always liking something? Are you always posting something? Are you reaching out to that person to say, hey, this really resonated with me? No, you're like scrolling through. As you scroll through everything, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And then it goes into your brain, and like, sometimes it lights something else up. So we have to give that, like, I think, take away the merit we give all of that, or the credit we give that, or the pressure we're putting on ourselves for that to be the way we measure ourselves.
Love it. Yes. So true. So true. I love that in the comments. So another thing that you did, you've had several careers-ish or different versions of it. And then you decided, wow, I want to focus my career and tie in my purpose for being. Why did you feel like that is so important? And is that something for everyone to consider?
I will tell you, doing purpose-driven work is just, it feels much different. It's the thing that makes you want to get up in the morning, the thing that makes you want to engage with people. And when you know that you're making a difference in a different way, and that can be anything, right? It doesn't have to be, it could be there's a product that you love and you want more people to have it. It can be that there's a person out there who's, who's saying something and you want to support them. Like, it has to be something. And when it resonates in this way, it makes such a huge difference. And that's what I've seen. I felt like at the end of my career, I felt as though I was making rich people richer. And that wasn't interesting to me. And I didn't know, right? But it was in that world for so long, it felt like, well, that's success, right? I get more money if these people get more money, and then I can go on vacation, right? And that was how I was measuring success. And now that has totally changed. I get to be impactful on someone else's day-to-day life and the decisions that they make. And that is like eons different than, closing a $200 million deal where, some guy gets a very, very big payout. Like,
yeah,
it feels much, much different.
Wow. So, and we talk about this a lot. Again, since so many people are pivoting and starting their journey as being an online business manager, when picking your niche or picking the audience that you really want to focus on, tie in something that you are super passionate about, because you will want to keep on doing it. Like, you are an enthusiast of it in addition to it being your job. And so it keeps you going. And that's what I'm hearing you say as well.
And I think what's important there too is to know that that's a possibility. Because a
Yes.
lot of times we're going to
That's a
think,
great
well,
point.
all right, I got to go get a job now. So I'm going to just go get a job, and it's going to be annoying because, it's work and all of those things. And it's going to, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be this thing that you're a part of something bigger that makes you want to get up and do it in the morning. You're contributing in a way that you feel like you're doing a greater good in some way. And so I think that's the thing that I would encourage everyone to do is think about what you're passionate about. Think about what your values are. That's a huge part of this. What are your values? Because if you were in a place where I realized my values changed and making rich people richer was not the thing that was good for me anymore. And I felt a friction. I felt like, ugh, and I felt it in myself. And so you don't want to be a part of something like that, right? You want to be a part of something that is, I don't know, like my number one value is connection, something that promotes connection, something, whatever your values are. That's an important thing to really look at for what is the kind of work you want to do, or what's the kind of company you want to work for.
Gosh, I just love it. I love it. So for people in the audience who are like, Danielle, I am digging your chili. This is amazing. Like what? But yeah, like I want to be that confident, but I need some tips that I can go do right now. What are some that you would be like, hey, here are some easy things, or one easy thing that could really move the needle?
One of the things I think it's really important to do is realize that we have so much experience within us, and we do not give ourselves credit for it, right? We will just be like, well, I had this job, I did that. And I would imagine for a lot of the people who you're working with that are coming back into the workforce, they are discounting the last 2, 4, 7, 8, 12 years of their lives because they weren't in the workforce. And guess what? In that time, you did a lot. If you were raising a child, if you were helping a sick parent, whatever you were doing, that is a part of your experience. And that is a part of what you're bringing to the world. And so one of the things that I talk about is connecting the dots of your life. Sit down and do an inventory of all of the things that you have done. And when we think about it, right, like we have these dots, they don't go in a straight line. Mine definitely don't, right? And you can really only do this. There's a quote by Steve Jobs that's like, you can only connect the dots of your life by looking backwards. Because when there's a dot, you don't know that that's happening, right? And you don't know where it's going to lead. But then when you look back, you can say like, oh, when this happened, this led to that. And then that led to this, right? And then I met this person here. And we all have different dots in our lives, right? We're going to have work dots. We're going to have personal life dots. We're going to have just different things that growing up dots that happen. But if we can give ourselves credit for all of the things that we have achieved or B, overcome, that is where our confidence can come from, because we already have it. We've already done these things. And so I think that what is really important is giving yourself the time to reflect and connect those dots, connect the dots of, and it could be your career, connect the dots of that. And then when there's this gap I was raising my children, well, what the hell did you learn in there? Because I'm sure it's a lot more than anybody else did in their career, right? What are the things, the management of people? That's very different. And I would imagine managing a CEO and a 3-year-old, there's a lot of similarities there. Yes. So think about that stuff, right? And what are the skills that you learned? What are the time management, the dealing with difficult personalities? All of those things are part of you, and you get to bring that to the next thing. But we too many times don't give ourselves credit for all that we've done. We're looking to what's the next thing that I can do. And that is such a disservice to yourself and to everyone else, because you're not offering all of the gifts that you have, all of the talents you have, and all of the experience that you can bring.
Wow, that is such a great point that I never thought about. Like, yes, you are doing a disservice to yourself, but you're also doing a disservice to everyone else who you could be helping. Mm-hmm. I just cracked open, like on page 3 of Who Not How. And so mm-hmm. I haven't read it, but obviously page 3. But it's all about like hiring people to help you build the business. And I would be pissed if Leah was like, "Hey, Ashley, oh, by the way, I'm an AI developer back in the day," like,
Right.
and she just didn't tell me.
Was like, well, that wasn't in your job description, so I didn't think it was important to mention.
Right. No. That would be quite valuable. Please bring that to the table. So, oh man, that's so good. That's so good. So obviously, what you're doing is just amazing, and I really I think that there are so many different women in our audience who want to become online business managers and want to work with coaches, CEOs, consultants like you. Where would you give them pointers either in working with someone like you? Like, what do you need in your business? I guess that's part one of the question. And then part two is, where would they go to find them?
So, well, I'm still on my own here, and I will be coming to Prowess Project when I am ready for my OBM. But I think you need to have some flexibility too, and have to know, right? Like, what do people need, especially when people are starting out? I would say they're like, okay, we're in this together.
Yeah.
Like, I know when I'm ready for somebody, it's going to be a partnership. It's not going to be, I'm just telling you what to do. Because I think what I've learned through my entrepreneur journey so far is that every day is different and you're constantly learning, right? I have the skills to be a coach, the skills to run a business. I'm very much on the ground trying to figure that out every day. So I think entrepreneurship there is no roadmap. I keep asking for one. And every time I do, people laugh at me. And then what I realized too is if anybody handed me a roadmap, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to do it that way.
Yep.
And I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, right? Is like, I want to do it my way. I'm going to figure this out. And so I think coming in as a partner and knowing that you probably, especially somebody who's a coach and is a one person shop, like you're going to have a lot of influence there. And so it's not just like, okay, I'm going to do your books behind the scenes. Like you probably have a lot more influence than you think. And so find someone who you connect with and who you find what they're doing valuable and is a part of your values.
I love that. And then the second part of that question, which I think you just answered, like, how do you find them?
I mean, I have a whole network of coaches. I have a whole network of like entrepreneurs. Find those people online, honestly, like on LinkedIn. That's what everybody's doing, is putting themselves out there, and we're all just scrolling right past it because it doesn't mean anything to us until you find that person that connects with you, right? And so I think just finding in those different groups. And I actually have promoted Prowess Project to my people, so I know my people are going to be coming looking for their online business managers, and hopefully we'll create this like web, which is like my favorite thing, right? The web of connection.
I was going to say connection, value. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, love it. So if there are people out there who are listening who aren't quite sure if they want to be an online business manager, how would you give them either pointers or an assessment or questions to really think about to understand if it is in alignment with them?
So number one is it all goes back to values. Does this thing align with your values? Does it provide the flexibility that you need in your life? Because the other thing is to remember, you're making this decision and you're in the driver's seat. And so don't fall into a box that you think is what exists or that you think what the possibilities are. Like, there's so much bigger possibilities out there. And I think what happens is we get so stuck in like what's so right in front of us. And a lot of times that does us a disservice because we're not seeing what's really out there. So I would say, put it all out on the table. Put everything that you need, everything that you want. And then, we all definitely have to make compromises.
Totally.
But there's probably something out there that you're just saying automatically, nope, that's not available to me because I only have the hours between, 10 and 2 when my kids are in school to work. And so no one's ever going to hire me. And
false.
right. And so I think that that's right. And it can't be, it has to be with, some company that makes my skin crawl because they're the ones that are going to pay me the money. No, that's not true. So I think do some of these exercises where you let yourself really like sit down and free write everything that you want, everything that you need. Because also if you're holding it back, like there's no one who's going to bring it to you. You got to say it out loud. You have to tell people, you have to say, this is what I'm looking for. And I know that it can sound real cheesy, but like the universe is listening. Like if you would have told me 2 years ago, like, so Danielle, on a Wednesday, what you're going to be doing is you're going to jump on a call with a bunch of coaches. You're going to talk all about like how you guys are feeling. Then you're going to get on this live stream and you're going to talk about confidence with Ashley. I would have told you like, no, that can't be my life. There's no way it could be my life. And now it is. Like, this is real life. Like, and it gets to be because I thought bigger than where I was. And I think we need help to do that. We need help to do that sometimes because we do get so stuck in exactly what's right in front of us.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, I love that. And so I am inviting everyone in the audience, put your big goal, put your big thing in the chat. We want to hear them. Got to put them out in the universe. I've been telling everyone I'm doing a TED Talk. I'm doing a TED Talk. I'm not doing a TED Talk. I'm not signed up yet.
I can't wait to see your TED Talk, Ashley. I'll meet you on that red dot. Because I'm like, I'm going to write a book someday.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be, today's not the day, but I'm going to write a book.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be about either, but
yeah. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Hopefully Ted whispers in my ear because I got to figure that out, but I'm doing it.
And that's the thing. Like we get to, and then I can't wait till we come back and watch this one day. And it's like, oh my God, remember when you said you were going to do a TED Talk? And you said you were going to write a book? Yeah. And we did it.
Oh, I love it. Yes. So good. So we are almost up at time. Is there anything else that you would leave this audience with? Just about life in general. I'm so curious.
I would say, as I'm going to relate it back to confidence, is like everything you need to be confident has already happened to you. You've already done it. You've done the thing you've done, right? And if you can sit back and you can connect those dots and you can see it, then you're like, oh, remember that time that was really, really, really hard? Like I went through a time that was really, really rough, but I got through it. And that is something that has fueled me going forward. Or remember that time, like I crushed it. I crushed that meeting. I got that promotion. I did that thing, whatever it was, right? And I think that's the things we need to give ourselves credit for. So stop diminishing ourselves and thinking like, oh, well, I don't fit into that box, or I didn't do that thing. I didn't go to that school, or, I took some time off to raise my family. That is all part of who you are. And that is all part of the strength that you can bring to your next endeavor.
Oh, love it, love it, love it, love it. We do have one question about pitching clients and having confidence in pitching clients. Do you have any tips on that?
I would say stay in that place of like, if you're pitching something you believe in, just be real honest. Right? People know that, people feel it. And so if you're saying like, this is who I am, this is what I can do. And I would practice it before you get on a call, right? Say it in the mirror, say it on Zoom to yourself and record it and watch it back. See the things that you're doing, the things that you're saying. And how does that resonate with you? Pitch your friends, pitch your partner, pitch anybody who will listen to you, because then it becomes so natural. It comes right out. And then it feels like, that's the person I want to work with. And I will say, and this is something that really held me back for a bit and still kind of does, because you're like, well, that person who just like can come in and just talk about all the things, like they're just so natural at it and it just comes so easily. Like that was rehearsed a million times.
Yes.
A million times. Because, and then it feels like it's just happening. I'm just talking. I'm just, and that's not how it works. It's not, people don't get up and give a TED talk and just talk about what they want to, that takes months of preparation, like real intense preparation. And the same thing needs to go into the preparation for a pitch, the same thing for an interview, all of that stuff, because then you can show up as yourself because it's all in the back of your head already. It's already there. And when a question isn't going to throw you because you're not prepared for it, like you can switch that on and off. So I would say just really like practice that stuff. And it feels silly. Like that's what I always think of, like, I'm going to do this again. Like, and talking to the void of my computer, there's nobody even on the other side, but it helps. It helps you to see where am I getting tripped up, or like, oh, that sounds kind of weird. I don't think that, like, I wouldn't buy that if somebody was trying to sell it to me. So try to just practice that, because the best people at anything that they do are all well rehearsed.
Yep. Oh gosh, it's so true. So true. And I love your tip on recording yourself on Zoom and rewatching it. I did that for years. I still do that if it's something important.
And don't get me wrong, it's painful. God, it's painful.
Watching yourself? No.
I mean, like my podcast, I didn't listen to it for a really long time because I was like, I can't listen to myself. But then I started listening to it and I was like, oh, here are the things that I need to improve on. Here are the ways that I can get better, and it's cringy. It's hard to do because we're our worst critics. Right. And so I would just say though, like, do it anyway, because then the product at the end is so much better.
This was good. We launched a podcast back in March or something like that. And I have yet to listen to one episode because of that cringe. Like when you were saying that, I don't know if you could see, I was physically tensing, like listening to hearing my own voice. But that's a really good reminder. I need to do that and see where I can.
And I listen to your first episode. And I mean, we've done, I think 113 episodes now. So we've been doing this for a long time. And I went back recently and listened to our first episode, and it was like nails on a chalkboard. It was really hard to do, but I was like, oh my gosh, look how far we've come. And then there's other episodes I've listened to and really had to be like, was that me? Was I in that conversation? Like impressed with myself, impressed that I like really looking, I was like, wow, I learned a lot here. And I was like, I had that conversation and I was a part of it. And that part is really rewarding, but it takes listening to yourself to get there.
The work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. Oh, Danielle, this has just been so fantastic. If y'all are interested in learning more about how you can work with Danielle, I highly recommend it. Danielle, where can we find you, girlfriend?
Go to DanielleMcCombs.com and you can book a free session with me awesome. To see if coaching is for you, or if we would be a good fit to work together. And you can also check out my podcast, The Opposite of Small Talk. We talk about all different things that relate to connection, reflection, and social justice. So we'd love to have you listen and would love to hear from you. Also connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where most of my stuff goes, and you'll scroll by some of it and maybe some will resonate.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for being with us, and everyone who is listening, watching. Thank you. You know where to find us, prowessproject.com. If you are looking to be an OBM, or if you are looking for an OBM so you can scale your business, we got you. All right. See y'all next week.